Welcome to the CrossFit Max podcast.
What is going on, beautiful people? I am stoked that you're here for another episode. And hey, if this is your first time here, welcome. We have noticed that we've had an increase of downloads on this podcast, which I freaking love. That means more of you guys are listening, and hopefully we're providing some good value. So if you want to continue to support us, please share this with a friend. This is an interesting episode because we're talking about beginner-friendly running, people getting into the process of running, and there might be a lot of you guys who are experiencing this right now or have already gone through a lot of the things that we're talking about, and others just need to hear it for them to start their running journey. So please feel free to continue to share this with others, and we hope you guys get some good value. Enjoy this episode. 3, 2, 1, let's go. What's up, everybody?
I'm still pregnant.
38 weeks, 38 and a half weeks. Hey, we're going to make a podcast on this soon. Stay tuned.
Yeah. Hopefully I won't be pregnant forever.
So last week, we put up the beautiful Athletes Lounge mural on the wall.
Well, we didn't put it up.
We got it designed.
We hired a very qualified human to put it up because we cannot be trusted with that type of work.
So the last 2 months, maybe, we've been working on
Investing,
but redesigning our Athletes Lounge area. We've talked about it.
Revamp, a little tender love and care.
How many adjectives can we say?
Redecorating.
Yeah, wow, keep going.
A little feng shui.
So we got Oceane to make a sick design for us.
Yeah, she killed it.
She, absolutely crushed it.
She took your vision and literally put it on paper.
Yep. She said, hey, let's create this mood board. Send me a bunch of photos and stuff that you like, a bunch of quotes that you like. And yeah, so she put it all together. We got a referral from another member for a printing company, and they printed it, came in, installed it. And like Susie said, Susie's laughing because when we came in last week, I was thinking, thank freaking God I am not installing this thing, because essentially it's
stressful.
It's a wall that is about 30 feet long and about 7, maybe 8 feet high, I think. And
that's a big sticker.
It's not one big sticker. That's the
5.
thing. It's not one straight up sticker. It is 5 stickers. And if you think about it, it's really, really long and not super, super high. So the guy came in with 5 stickers, like columns.
Yeah.
And started on one side. And also everything of this building and this design
it's a bit wonky.
The electrical work was crazy. The alignments of the angles of the
aren't
walls
quite
and the
straight.
floors and so much flaws. It's just an older building, I guess. Anyways, one end of the mezzanine was 79 inches or something like that, and the other one was like an inch higher, so it wasn't a straight line. So the guy actually had to do some on the spot cutting.
Oh shit, I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, anyways,
I'm finding out right now.
He had his laser pointer to match up the different stickers, so to get one side matched completely aligned with the other. So if you look at it right now, you'd have no idea that it was a sticker, and so many people were asking, oh wow, is that painted? And no, it's definitely not painted. It's really, really
fancy sticker.
Yeah, I mean, it's super, super detailed as well, so it would have been really hard to paint that. But yeah, so they came in, he had his like laser pointer, tape, his tools to flatten it out so there was no little freaking bubbles.
I think about like how stressful it was putting the like sticker decals on our cardio machines.
Yeah.
And like then you think about this wall sticker and I'm stress.
Yeah. So, and it also, one person took him just over an hour.
He was alone?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So one person came in.
Give that guy a medal. Just kidding, guys.
Boom. Done. An hour.
Change of plans for the end of today's podcast. This random guy, is client of the week.
Yeah. Yeah. It would have taken us 8 hours and it would have looked horrendous.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so we got a lot of good feedback. If you haven't checked it out yet, go check it out on our Instagram.
We got some cool new lighting.
We've posted some stuff. Yeah, we put up some lighting. We ordered a mirror. Oh, there you go. I'm boring you already. Or you're already yawning.
I can't help it. I'm
Jesus.
so
Anytime
pregnant.
we get in the podcast room.
I'm literally so pregnant. I cannot help it.
Sure, everything. Just blame it on the pregnancy.
I will. It's my last.
It's not like that was happening last year.
It's like literally my last 24 hours of being pregnant. I'm going to use every excuse I got in the book.
So... yeah, we like you said, we put up some cool hexagonal LED lights. We removed the old school neon ones that were there.
Is it hexagonal or hexagonal?
Hexagonal. We've learned that actually. Hexagonal is not the appropriate way of saying it. Your British mother.
I know, but like
me.
how we can't really like take their word for it because they
Yeah.
also say schedule and not schedule. So
Yeah.
like.
And aluminium.
Aluminium, yeah. So, do we take their word for that it's hexagonal and not hexagonal?
Well, if you ask Google, Google does. Well,
Google does say hexagonal.
No, you've ruined it for them anyways. I was going to tell them to go use the Google
we don't want them
voice.
to drop off their podcast and go listen to something else. Stay right here with us, guys.
So we got some cool lights that were put up. We're working with Ali, who is Ocean's partner, and he is going to be making some cool benches, some wooden benches. We're going to be putting in some cool colored LED lights, like around the strip around the edges.
Ooh, what color would we possibly choose?
Well, it's going to be multicolor, but mostly pink.
Wait.
They change colors, yeah.
What?
Yeah. You can set any color you want. You can change the colors.
No, they're going to be pink.
Well, you can put them whatever color you want.
Why would we do that?
Well, if we wanted to get a cool vibe going,
There is a cool vibe. Pink is a cool vibe.
Technically, it could
Pink
sync.
is the only option.
It could technically sync to the music, I believe, as well. Smart LED lights, they are.
The front door.
Anyways, we'll see what happens when we install them. So Justin's got to do a little bit of electrical work, and then we're going to install those, and then Ali's going to put some cool benches in.
Wow, look at our whole community coming together.
Damn, it's cool.
How lucky are we?
Anyways, the upgrades are happening. We got the Echo bikes, the athletes' lounges in the works.
We're going to extend the rig soon.
We're going to be extending the rig soon, getting some more equipment soon, and everything's coming along. Yeah, I'm really hoping we get the rig in before the Turn Up the Heat, July 6th.
That's a lot of pressure.
It's 5 weeks from now, less than or a little bit more than a month. So yeah, we're looking at about 5 weeks. We can do this, depending on if Rogue ships it.
I'm busy.
Yeah.
Count me out.
By we, I mean the CrossFit Max team and community and everything. We got this, which I'm stoked for that competition. We officially sold out.
Yeah. So if you snoozed, you lost.
Yeah. Anyways, cool things. Check it out on Instagram. We're posting some cool stuff. We're going to be posting some finished products. Oh, I forgot to mention the mirror is also coming in for the athletes lounge. And
yeah, because people like, what's the point of having that cool section if you can't take a mirror selfie?
Absolutely. And we got the hashtag above it. We are CrossFit Max. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, moving on to today's topic.
Next.
It is getting into the season of nice weather. And when there's nicer weather, we typically like to get outside more. And when we like to get outside more, we like to move more. And when we like to move more, we like to run a little bit.
Yes.
So we're talking about running today.
Correct.
And this podcast is also influenced a little bit based on the event that I did yesterday with Lucy, Daphne, and Lucy's partner Guillaume. We did the Laval Pompier. I should know the name.
Course des Pompiers or something?
Course des Pompiers, yeah. It was a fundraiser for the firefighters.
Firemen fundraiser?
Yep. And we did the 10K, but it had all the events. It had the full marathon, half marathon, 10K, 5K. It also had some of the smaller ones for the kiddos.
That's so fun.
The 1 and 2Ks.
I used to do that all the time when I was a kid with my dad. Like if he would do like a marathon or something, my sisters and I would do like the 1K or the kids 2K.
Yeah. Hey, parents listening to this, if you want to get your kids into some physical activity, go run a 1 or 2K with them. It's pretty sick.
Start them young.
Also, there's cheaper rates for kiddos. I notice when on the registry, there's always like a price for 18 plus and there's a price for 17 and younger. At least for some of the races that I looked at yesterday. So you want to get your kids moving and a really fun event. There was so many people at that event, and it's always really cool to be out with hundreds or thousands of people.
There's such an energy when you go to these types of events where people are like have trained for something, they're showing up, they're doing something awesome for their body and their mind. Oftentimes they're with like a friend, so it's like a community vibe. Like it's very cool.
Yeah. It's a huge adrenaline boost, a huge motivation boost.
Yeah, you came home and you were like looking up more races.
Yeah. Well, because I'm signed up for the Petit Train, which is October half marathon, October 5th. That's the date.
Or 6th.
And no, I think this. Oh, you might be right. It's that weekend. Anyways, the first weekend of October.
I remember because it's Helene's birthday that weekend.
Okay, interesting. And so yeah, I'm signed up for that. But I would have liked, because I ran it. So essentially, I signed up with Daphne to run her first 10K. And
for yesterday.
Yeah, for yesterday.
Yeah.
And I just pretty much stayed with her the entire time and just gave her words of encouragement. It was my first 10K in about 3 years. So it was a while since I ran that distance. The most I've ran since then has been like 6, maybe 7 kilometers total.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. Great job, honey.
Yep. And I felt great. My cardiovascular system was awesome. Around the 7K, my right hip was really starting to bother me. So in terms of like fitness level, I feel really good. At no point did my legs feel heavy.
You're more limited by your joints.
No point did my breathing or my heart rate get out of control. It was really just the impact of running was starting to accumulate. And that's what I got to get ready for my next few months of training for the half marathon.
Tolerance, like your body's tolerant.
Yep.
To running.
Exactly. So I ran it with Daphne, and her objective, her main goal was to not stop the entire 10K. And she was great. You start with in a line with hundreds of people, and there's a huge, they had because it was the firefighter fire pompier thing, they had the fire truck alarm go off.
Cool.
So they had one guy on like a microphone. He was on the speakers, maybe not a microphone, but he was on the speakers for everything, and just yelled out 3, 2, 1. And then there was a huge chunk of people that went, and then it again another 3, 2, 1 go,
of people,
and then everyone else went after that. And yeah, it was really cool. You start off and you're like, whoa, don't go too fast, Like the adrenaline is at an all-time high. You're feeling fresh right now. Let's slow it down.
Yeah, it's so hard not to like send it out the gate.
Yeah. And everybody's going, and so.
And you also want to like spread out a little bit.
We chatted the entire time. I was trying to hold a conversation with her, trying to get her to stay in it. Around the 5K, that's when she started to really hurt a little bit. Her body, her foot was bothering her. Like, she was starting to feel it at that halfway point.
How are you feeling around the halfway point?
I felt good the whole time. Literally just my right hip around the 7K mark, 7 to 9K was starting to feel it. Okay. And it's funny because Lucy checked up the course map before, and she was saying how flat it was the whole way, and it was relatively flat until you got to about 6 or 7K.
Okay.
And then you it was a point-to-point race, so it wasn't a loop. You didn't finish where you started.
Okay.
So you start, and you're going through these trails along the water, and it was nice. You went through a campus of some sort, and then all of a sudden you get to a point where you see people are running back towards you, and you're running on the other side. So you start a pretty good incline hill.
Oh boy.
It was a nice incline. So we're like, okay, like here we go. But
the worst part about running a course that you don't know is like you just don't know when is this going to be over.
Yeah, you can kind of like it's a big road. It's a huge road. Like it was a major boulevard that they closed off for that point, and you could see a bunch of people, but you couldn't really see the turning point.
You're like, when does this end?
You're looking up at this hill, and you're running, and you're running, and you're running, and you're looking up, and you're thinking, okay, like there's a turning point eventually, and then you keep going, like, oh my God, like when is this turning point going to happen?
At least the whole time you're going up, you're like, at least I get to come down, I guess.
Yeah. And then you take a left turn off of the boulevard, run through this little foresty part, and then the cool thing is that you run through this massive fire station in Laval. And you're running through these massive gates inside the actual fire station.
Very cool.
Picture it like a big garage door. You're running through one end and out the other to loop around. Yeah. And then you start making the decline down the road for the last 2-ish K, last maybe 1.5K. And so the end of the race was downhill, which was good. And then, we got to the 9K. She powered through, and then it was like a switch hitter. And I told her that the whole time. I said, hey, always just think, true. The race is not 10K. The race is a 9K race. Your objective is just to keep running. And if you get to 9 kilometers in, you're going to be able to finish the race without stopping.
Yeah.
And then we'll just push as hard as we can, and we'll empty the tank the last K. It's just a couple minutes of
Could do
running.
Anything for that last 1K. No matter how uncomfortable you are, your mind is like, oh, it's almost done.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we hit that 7.5, 8K mark, and we got to the 9K, and then it was a switch just turned for her, and then she's like, okay, like, let's go. Like, I'm feeling good. We're going to do this. And we pushed, and I didn't
look. Did you look at your splits? Like, was that a fast K?
It was very fast, yeah.
Compared to your other ones?
Yeah. We held just over 6-minute Ks throughout the entire time. Cool. And then we held I think it was close to 5:30 the last K, maybe under. Yeah.
That's cool. So, it's fun to finish on like a fast K if you've kind of held back a little bit throughout the race.
Yep. So we didn't stop the whole time. We finished the race in
perfectly executed.
Just over an hour and 3 minutes. So 63 minutes and some change. I was really proud of her because that was her first race and she was able to go.
Is that the first time she ever ran 10 kilometers?
First time she ever ran 10K.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, she's been training really hard the last few weeks. She's been getting up at 6 a.m. to run crazy. 3 times per week.
Would you have done that when you were in high school? Like,
no
damn.
way. And that was one of the things I told her during the race. I was like, Daphne, like, look around right now. There is barely any young teenagers right now, or any teenagers, excuse me, that are around us right now. These are all adults. It's a Sunday morning. You chose to wake up on the morning to get out there
name me
and
another
run
16-year-old who's
and do a race.
That.
Sign up for something that can give you butterflies, that can give you stress and anxiety. And, you signed up for this race weeks ago. You trained for it. You didn't just show up to the race. You trained for it. And you got up on the early mornings. Like, this is what it's all about. Like, all that hard work is like, so now it's so cool that now you're doing this. And, it was fun. So
I have so much FOMO. It's not even funny.
Yeah. So we're just going to talk about running a little bit today because there are some people that have now started our run club every Sunday morning.
Our run club is doing really well.
Give you guys some tips and pointers on things that could help you, things that might boost your motivation, and just maybe build. And maybe some people who are listening to this, or actually most people who are listening to this, are CrossFitters, and maybe some of you guys are too scared or not confident enough to get out there and start running yet.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of resistance within even the CrossFit community that against running. Yeah. Like this idea that running is so hard. It doesn't have to be so hard.
Yeah, for sure. So
you used to be resistant to running.
No, I don't know if I was resistant to running. I think I was resistant to like long distance running.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. But in terms of like running, Metcons, I love Metcons that have running in it. I played sports where there was running. Okay. But yeah, in terms of like anything more than 5 kilometers, I was like, nah, it's not really my jam. Like 5K or less, I'm good with that. I'm still kind of there right now. 10K is my limit.
But you even came home yesterday and you said it, like that 10K felt like how a 5K used to feel.
Yes, yeah. It is.
So that's pretty sick.
That could be kind of the first topic of discussion. We don't really have a plan for this. We just 3, 2, 1 and go this year. But something that is really important to know, and many of you guys listening to this have experienced this through CrossFit, is there's an adaptation period that happens when you're running. Just like when you start CrossFit, you start your CrossFit, you maybe haven't really been working out, or maybe you did workouts or you played sports, but you did like either the gym, the bodybuilding, the go to the Gold's Gym, BuzzFit, stuff like that. And then you at a Globo Gym, and then you start CrossFit. And there's a period where you sign up, you start doing the classes, and you wake up the next morning and you're like, oh my God, I'm so freaking sore. My shoulders are so wrecked. My quads are so wrecked. And then you're like, okay, I got to get back into it. Like, I get one rest day, I got to go back the next day, And for some people, the biggest resistance for getting people to start CrossFit is they get sore and they think, I need a full week of rest. I can't work out again when I'm sore.
Big mistake.
And then you got to just try to get them to push and stay on that routine. It's like, hey, if you're sore, that's okay. Soreness is good, and you're going to feel sore for the first few weeks, but you got to build it, and eventually that soreness will subside and you won't be feeling as wrecked as you do now. And it's the exact same thing for running. When you start running, either your like I said, your joints will start to act up, or your muscles will start to get fatigued quicker. You might feel like you cannot control your heart rate no matter what speed you're going at. It's just your heart rate shoots up, breathing gets out of control.
Yeah.
So first thing that's super important to note is that the first few sessions are always going to be the hardest.
Yeah.
And there's going to be an adaptation period that's going to take place because you're doing something that either you've never done before, or something you've barely done, or something you maybe haven't done in a long time.
Yeah, and the important thing to do here is to stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because the more you actually stick with it at the beginning, the quicker your adaptation period will be.
Yep.
If you kind of like dip your toe in, dip your toe out, dip your toe in, dip your toe out, that adaptation period is going to take a very long time. And so you're never going to start to like feel better.
Yeah, it's kind of like the people who do CrossFit once per week or twice per week, really.
And they're like, I'm always sore. It's like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah, you're just that adaptation period is just not happening for you because you're just always
you're taking too much time in between, so your body never gets the chance to get used to this style of training.
Yep. So number one, I would say adaptation is important to note that the first few sessions are always going to be the hardest. Number two is understanding that running is not necessarily about, well, not really about the speed. It's just about getting the volume and the steps and the time in. So a lot of people make the mistake of
hyper-fixating on their pace.
Yeah, like, okay, I got to go out there and I'm going to run. Either that could be like people set their thing as the metric of like, yeah, I have to run a 5K. Like that's the thing I got to do. And when I run my 5K, I did it in 32 minutes. Okay, well, next week when I do it, I got to do it faster than that. Then the following week when I do it, I got to do it even faster than that. And then every time you go out and run, you're trying to beat your previous score. And that would be the equivalent of you getting into the gym and literally always trying to lift heavier or go faster than you did the last session.
It's just not.
It's not sustainable. Your nervous system is going to get wrecked. You're pushing your max on every single run. And
it's going to be psychologically detrimental because you're physically not going to be able to, quote unquote, PR your 5K every single time you run it.
Yeah, you might for a period of time. That might be a period of time, but then you're just going to get like either burnt out, you're going to get injured, you're not going to have as much fun. The most underrated aspect of running is going at a slow pace and just getting out and doing the run. Exactly. Or doing a run, I should say. Not even doing the run, but doing a run.
Yep.
If you got 30 minutes in you and you can only go 3 kilometers out there, then go for it. If you got 45 minutes and you maybe want to go for a little bit of a longer distance, then and you have time, then go for it, But the objective is not always to go fast. The objective is to get out there and run.
Actually, like 75% of the time that you're running, you should be running at a pace where you can easily talk,
chat.
And if you are not doing that, then you're actually leaving so much running potential on the table because practicing running at a jogging pace that isn't spiking your heart rate, that isn't like sending your muscles into shock, is what's going to build that nice adaptation, that nice like longevity in your ability to run.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Another little tip.
Talk to them.
Is
are we doing tips? We're just rambling about running today.
Yeah. Well, I would say something that is also very underrated is this is more for maybe beginners to even maybe starting to be intermediate, but just knowing that walking in between is totally fine.
You are still a runner.
Yeah.
If you walk a bit.
People tend to think like I have to go out and non-stop run for X amount of distance. Whereas if you really are a beginner at this, for example, we have this chat with many people for our Sunday run club.
Yep.
Like people just think like, hey, we're coming to the run club and you got to run at 5K straight. Couldn't be further from the truth.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Just run, walk. 1 minute on, 1 minute off, and then build on it. Okay, minute 30 on, 1 minute walk. Okay, 2 minutes on, 45 seconds of walking, right? And just build to a point where you can manage a little bit longer every single time, providing you're feeling good, and eventually even talking to someone while you're doing this.
Yeah.
Which I also feel like is such an important part of running and something that I've really enjoyed over probably since I met you, is having someone to run with. And these Sunday run clubs are so much fun because I feel like there's always someone I could talk to during.
Yeah, running alone can be quite mentally tough, especially if you're uncomfortable while you're running, because then your brain kind of goes into that spiral of like focusing on the things that hurt, or this is long, or how much further, and stuff like that. Whereas when you come with a group of people or you run with a friend and you're just chit-chatting, it's almost like the time sort of flies by.
Yeah. It does make a huge difference.
That's
I feel
my
like
favorite thing about running.
myself included, I'll put myself in this bucket here, but when I started running, I always used to think, okay, like I have to listen to music when I'm running. Cannot not listen to music while I'm running. But that might be true if I'm just going out to run by myself.
Yeah.
And you want to turn on some music,
like
put some headphones on. Yeah, some people like to listen to podcasts, which I cannot do that. But maybe I need to give that a try during my training. I like
doing that for slow runs because it keeps me slow. I find if I listen to too good of a playlist, I tend to run faster because I get amped up. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I would say when you're in that camp of I always need to listen to music, I would definitely try your best to get a friend, get a buddy, go to a run club, do something of a social side of things. It felt like in my 10K race yesterday, we held that conversation, and it felt the equivalent of the time domain. It felt like I ran a 5K because I just held the conversation the entire time.
Yeah, I love it. And you know what? A side benefit of that is I feel like in the world that we live in right now, the art of having a undivided conversation with someone, undivided attention conversation with someone is dying. People are always looking at their phone or getting distracted or whatever it is. Yeah. And the beauty is when you're running, you're not looking at your phone, you're not doing anything else. And so I feel like my experience is I always get really, really close to my running friends because I feel like we can go deeper into conversation because you have that sort of undivided attention and you feel way more connected to that person. And so I've gotten extra close to the girlfriends or guy friends or whoever that I go running with because you can really pay attention to the conversation that you're having.
Yep.
That's just a side benefit. If you want to get to know someone really well, take them for a run.
Yeah, that's a good point for sure. Yeah, I've really enjoyed our Sunday run clubs for that reason as well.
I'm excited to come back.
Now, in terms of running shoes, Suze, what would you tell them? What would you tell them on the topic of getting them to start running? What do they need? What are the tools they need for running?
Shoes.
Yeah, they definitely need shoes for sure. Do you think shoes are important? Do they need to go and buy the best shoes right away?
Oh, that's a hard one because kind of yes.
Okay.
I think that you maybe if you would actually like to start running, it would be really in your best interest to go to a running store and get a decent pair of running shoes. Yeah. Just because it is an impacting sport and the way you run, how your foot hits and how hard you hit and if you're you have weak ankles or not and stuff can have an impact on your body, especially at the beginning. So I think going to for example, we went there today to Boutique Endurance, which is in the city on Saint Denis, is so valuable because the employees who work there know so much about running. They have so much information they can give you. They're going to ask you to run. They're going to watch how your feet move. They're going to give you recommendations on shoes. And I honestly feel like having a good pair of running shoes is really going to set you up for success. Yep. That doesn't mean that you can't go for a run if you don't have a brand new pair of good running shoes. I think you can definitely put on any sort of like trainer and start your running journey today.
Yeah.
But I do
say it
really
depends on the
think-
distance as well. Like if you're someone who's just trying to start running and they're going to be running like for 20 minutes and they're going to run,
you don't even know if you like it yet.
Yeah.
Then if you're run walking, stuff like that. But I do think that like fairly quickly, if you plan to take up running as a sport, it's definitely worth it to like invest in like a decent pair of running shoes.
Yeah, I'll give a personal experience. When we kind of started dating, during the beginning of the pandemic is when I started running like longer stuff. Yeah, that's when I was doing. We had already
been engaged at that point.
Yeah. Well, had we?
You proposed to me in the pandemic.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. So during the pandemic is when I started.
We've been together so long now. Yeah. It's so hard to tell.
Yeah. I was trying to think. I guess we only started the 10Ks during the pandemic or before.
Yeah, because the virtual 10Ks.
Yeah. So your dad started the virtual 10Ks. Anyways, I purchased a pair of just Nike running shoes online that were like $90, I think, and they were promoting them as running shoes and literally just shipped to my place. And we started running not super long distances. We were getting ready to run 10K virtual races. Yeah. So essentially, people would sign up for this virtual race, and then over a weekend period, we would all on Strava run 10 kilometers, and then we'd submit our Strava score to your dad, which was really cool.
And it was like handicapped.
And there was a handicap to it based on like either your previous race.
So you were racing against yourself more than you were racing against other people. So like someone who ran an hour and 15-minute 10K could still beat someone who ran like a 40-minute 10K. Because if their target time had been 120 and they did 115, then they would have really done a great job. Yeah, it was very fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Anyway, so I just purchased a pair of shoes and we were running like 4s, 5, 6, 7Ks. Yeah, and my feet were getting wrecked, like blisters. My body was not enjoying the process of running. Yeah, and we decided to go to Boutique Endurance years ago, and we actually this was one of our first vlogs that we made on YouTube a long time ago.
So true. How cute.
And that's where I got the shoes that I've been running with now, my New Balance. And it was a huge, massive night and day difference between running with those cheap running shoes I got online versus real. Like I was wearing I can't remember it was a New Balance, but I can't remember the type. Running shoe, yeah. It was a New Balance running shoe that when we went there, so I'll give people the experience. You go there and there's like a laneway, I don't know, maybe 20 feet, roughly like about 20 feet.
Joggable.
You tell them like what you're looking for. They give you a few options based on.
They also ask you like, are you training for something? Like what kind of distances? Like how often are you running?
Yeah, they ask all these questions.
Get to know like what is your current level and what are you looking for in a shoe?
Yeah, it was so funny. The guy was like, "Oh, are you looking for cushion and comfort or performance?" And in my head, I just wanted to say yes. But I was like, I don't know. Probably more cushion. I'm running like my first half marathon in October. Anyway, so they ask you these questions, and then they bring a couple different pairs of shoes for you to just to try on. And then what they do is they watch you run down this aisle. You run there, you run back, you do a couple things, and then he kind of just assesses you. Actually, before he even does that, he even measures your feet, not just the length of your foot, but the width of your foot.
Should we tell the podcast listeners?
Well, one foot of mine is a little bit.
Brandon's got a short and fat foot and a long and skinny foot.
One foot is, what was it, 11 and a bit?
11 and a half, but it's like on the wider side.
Well, a little bit wider, okay?
It's like fit. It's a chunky foot. You got a chunky foot.
And then the other foot is 12.
And it's
narrow. So, yeah. Anyways.
I don't know why I find it just like super funny, but he was like, yeah, that's pretty normal. Most people have that. Yeah. And I was like, but it's funny. Yeah.
So they measure, they get you to try on a couple shoes. And, yeah, you run back and forth. He assesses you. I'm sure... all he said with me is that my right foot goes more towards 1 o'clock rather than 12 o'clock. So there's one foot that kind of tilts out a little bit.
But let's say you had like big pronation or something. He'd be like, okay, like looks like you're going to need like a stability shoe to help fix that. It's just that you didn't have anything major. So you were able to get like a neutral shoe.
Yep. So he hooked me up with those 2 shoes. I tried them on. I wanted to try on a couple other brands because they have
the color also matters, guys.
The color also, yeah. I tried the New Balance Ghost ones. I tried
the Brooks Ghost.
The Brooks Ghost, excuse me. Brooks Ghost. And then I tried Asics
Novo Blast.
Yeah, which was interesting because they all have like different cushion. The Asics was more like a gel cushion, which was really interesting feeling. It actually felt really good. He explained it really well. He said it's a gel cushion where it's simply like a gel. Like if you were to push down on it just gently, then it's going to have that nice little absorption. But if you're trying to go like fast paced running, and if you push hard down on a gel, it's going to spring you forward. So if you're trying to run fast, it's going to push you forward. And if you're trying to just run at a little slower pace, it'll help absorb. Squishy. Yep. And it was an interesting feeling compared to the Brooks. But then I was like, I want to try on some Nikes. I would like to try on some Hokas. And in the end, I really like the Hokas that I got.
Which model did you get, babe?
The something 9s.
Clifton 9s.
Clifton 9s.
He's asked me like 10 times today.
Yeah. Clifton 9s. The Hoka felt really good on my feet, and he also explained that really well. He's like, all Hokas are kind of like a rocking chair, like they'll kind of
you forward.
Exactly. And I was like, let me try this on. And then you kind of wear it, and you
and
feel
aesthetically they're cool.
And you kind of feel like it's pushing you forward, like rocking you forward as you're going. Cushioned, my feet felt really good in them. But yeah, so getting a good running shoe. I know we have one here close to the gym, which is the running room. I'm not a huge fan of that place. I don't want to send any bad negative reviews there.
No, it's not a negative review, but I think they don't have as in-depth of a knowledge or selection of shoes as they do at Boutique Entourage. So like especially if you're a newbie and you don't really know what you want, I totally recommend making the trip to the city, going to Boutique Entourage if you're in the Montreal area. I know we have worldwide listeners, but going to like a store that's like really specializes in this stuff because
it's worth it.
Their knowledge is invaluable.
Yeah, why did we go there? Why did we go to the running room recently? Was there a reason? Just because I wanted to see?
You wanted sunglasses for your trip to Greece.
Oh, yeah, true. So I wanted some gooder glasses. Anyways, we went there. We tried on a couple pairs. I felt like the staff wasn't really there. They didn't watch me run
They weren't really
at
paying
all.
attention, and they also asked you what you wanted to try on versus being like, hey, like I think based on your goals, you should try this.
Yeah, and it's a smaller place. There's no real lane way to kind of like when people are trying things on, they're just in the way of the lane.
I think like running room is awesome if you have a little bit of a running history. You kind of know which shoe you want already, and you're just going to grab them. Yeah. Whereas like making the trip to go to Boutique Entourage or something similar to that, like a store that's very specialized, when you're not sure what it is that you want really, they're gonna hold your hand a little bit more.
Yep. So good experience.
We had a fantastic guy this morning.
Yeah. So good experience on getting some good running shoes. And maybe that is clutch for you to do. But I would also just say that if you have a decent or okay pair of running shoes right now at 100%. Your house you're not going to run for a long period of time, then I would highly recommend getting into the habit of like, don't wait for you to get the new running shoe to start.
Don't use this as an excuse not to start right now.
Yeah, I can't start until I have a good pair, right?
100%, 100%. But I do think is like quickly in your running career, it is worth it to make an investment in a good pair of shoes that suits your specific style of running and needs.
Yep. So running shoes in terms of just
you need
being
cool
prepared,
sunglasses.
You need some new sunglasses.
Like they have to be cool too. Like don't get boring sunglasses if you're going to be a runner.
Get some gooder ones.
And ideally pink.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other obviously shorts, tank tops probably key. Not heavy cotton.
Yeah, you want to wear light clothes. You want to make sure you have sun protection on when you're running outside.
Hats maybe if you need.
Hat is very, very good for that in the summer. I also think that if you want to get techie with it, running watch is a fun investment eventually.
Yep.
Something to keep track so you don't have to carry your phone with you. But
Apple Watch, Garmin, excuse me. Garmin's probably one of the top ones up there.
Big debate.
I'm on it right now. I'm on that decision of whether
After
I
you
want to
donated your last Apple Watch to the Australian Ocean.
Yeah. Did we tell the podcast listeners what
I'm
happened?
sure we have.
Yeah. So I went surfing, and
bye-bye
needless
Apple
to say, my Apple Watch flew off my wrist at one point.
Yeah. So
I'm not sure if I want to get another Apple Watch or if I want to do the jump to the Garmin.
I just feel like Garmin is like for Android users.
Garmin is for Android users, really? I feel like a lot of runners will take extreme offense to this right now.
Like
Garmin is the running watch, without a doubt.
Oh yeah, Garmin is the running watch.
If you're a runner,
but
you're
I'm
wearing
just
Garmin.
saying, you're not. No offense to you, babe, but you're not like a runner.
I'm gonna be a runner.
You just run.
Yeah.
Like your identity is so many other things, and I feel like you're gonna regret not getting an Apple Watch for the other features.
Yeah, it's a hot debate in my head right now.
Like we have a
Angel and-
Tesla. We don't have just like an EV car, you know. So you need like.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, if you're getting into it a little bit more, a watch might help out just so you can get some sort of basic understanding of pacing, timing, distance as well.
Yeah, which all of this can be done with your cell phone. So like you don't need a watch.
Yep.
But it can be nice to leave your phone behind and just run with the watch if possible. But there are also very cute little pouches or pockets or things that you can carry your phone in. Where there's a will, there's a way.
And I would also like to add, based on my experience yesterday, that signing up for an event will have a huge impact on your motivation to train.
I 1,000,000% agree.
Even if you don't sign up, like I'm doing a half marathon in October. Doesn't mean I have to do a half marathon now to feel what it's like. Signed up for a 10K, and that 10K, half the distance, and it just felt like it brought a good amount of motivation to my training, a good amount of pick-me-up, some good vibes, the energy, the adrenaline. If you guys have never done a race before, then you wouldn't really understand the feeling that we're trying to express right now, but it is
magical.
It is very impressive.
Magical.
And yeah, so I would recommend finding some.
Sign up for a 5K. Like there are so many local events that you can do. At least in Montreal, in the island of Montreal.
Well, all
over
marathons,
the summer.
most marathons have a 5 and 10K race as well.
Tons of options you have, and it gives you something to work towards. So like you have like a target date in mind, but it also, like when you're actually there and you experience what it feels like to run with like a massive crowd of people and you're all working towards a common goal, it really does make you feel just like so inspired.
Yep. It was a lot of fun. It'll help boost you up and get through that fear of just signing up for something, showing up, going through the motions, and I promise at the end of that race, or during the race and at the end of the race, you're going to feel a good amount of motivation.
Yeah. So quick recap. If you're curious about running, it's a great time to start. Start now, not tomorrow, not in 10 weeks. Start slow. Take walk breaks. Find a community. Come join our Sunday Run Club. It's a great community.
It's free.
And it's free, and we have all levels. But run with someone. Maybe get a good pair of running shoes as a treat to yourself. And then sign up for an event.
Yep. I also want to add one more super important thing before we cap this off.
Tell 'em.
Is that it doesn't have to be CrossFit or running. It doesn't have to be.
It shouldn't be.
It doesn't have to be weight training or running. It needs to be both. And depending on what your goals are, there needs to be a balance between both of them. You can't just take what you're doing in CrossFit and dump running onto it, and vice versa. If you're a runner, you can't just dump a bunch of cross training into it.
There has to be a little bit of give somewhere.
There needs to be a give, but you also just need to understand your goal. My goal now is to, I'm just a little bit more than 16 weeks out of the half marathon, and I know that I need to just take 1 day of cross training out of that, because right now I'm doing six days of CrossFit and 1 run. I know that I need to take minimum 1 day of cross training out. I might even have to take 2. I might go to 4 CrossFit classes a week.
Like 2
and
to 3 runs.
3
runs.
3 runs per week.
Yeah.
So I'm going to actually up the intensity a little, up the volume of training, because I'm going to incorporate more running, but my sessions are still going to stay the same. I went from 7 sessions right now in a 6-day block. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be incorporating more running. So I need to take just a little bit of CrossFit out, and I'm still going to be doing 3 runs and probably 4 CrossFit trainings. And that's still 7 training sessions in 6 days. Now, that doesn't need to be for everyone. I've been doing this for a while and I'm used to the volume, but a lot of people get into this thing where, okay, it's beautiful out, I'm just going to run now.
And then they get injured.
And then they get injured, right? So these 2 sports go hand in hand together. Well. And not just in terms of like the performance and the sport side of things, but the overall health side of things. You need to understand why they are both important for your health. And if you just take weight training away, you're going to lose all the benefits of not just overall strength, but in terms of bone density, in terms of muscle mass. There are in terms of also, like, for a lot of people, strength training puts their joints through a full range of motion. So it also incorporates flexibility. It incorporates mobility. It incorporates balance, coordination. These are things that we don't do that often in running. In running, it's very repetitive pattern. You put one foot in front of the other.
Correct.
And you just got to keep moving, right? I mean, that's really to simplify running.
And it does make your hips tighter because you're closing your hips constantly in this movement.
Yep, for sure. So hip flexors, ankles get stiff. You got to work on posture as well, because you need to try to stay as upright versus, like, if you're running, you're leaning forward often.
Yes.
So it's not that, okay, I'm going to just start running and I need to eliminate CrossFit. And it's not because this is a CrossFit podcast that we're biasly saying this. In terms of the performance side of things and the health side of things, you need to have a balance of both of them, but you should continuously weight train. And in fact, if there's any runners listening to this podcast, you should highly recommend you continue to lift weights and do resistance training during this period, because it will help avoid injuries from running. It will help you feel stronger when you're running. It will help keep muscle mass, which is super important for just overall health of your body. So get your flexibility and get your mobility and get your balance work. Yeah. There's just so much carryover.
And it's also going to increase your power output abilities and probably your speed and stuff.
Yeah. And on the same thing on the flip side of things.
Complementary sports.
If you get better at running, your aerobic system for CrossFit is going to go through the roof. You're going to find that when you do those metcons, and normally you would get fatigued after X amount of minutes, you're going to start to feel like you can just
get like a second
breathe way longer without feeling dead. You're going to understand pacing a lot better. Sometimes it really, when I started incorporating like longer cardio sessions in my training, when I started CrossFit, I used to just go hard all the time.
Right.
And then when I started incorporating cardio pieces and running, then I understood, hey, I know how to pace myself a lot better right now. So you're going to be able to pace yourself. You're going to be able to breathe better. You're going to be able to recover in between things as well, because running it's very repetitive and it's an endurance sport. So you need to be able to breathe and recover constantly. You can't just be running at sprint paces here. No. So your body's ability to recover in the Metcon, when you're going from station to station, when you're going from wall balls to a barbell to a bike erg to running outside to doing gymnastics, you're able to recover and breathe better. And overall recovery in terms of like blood flow of your body, in terms of just your cardiovascular health, there's huge carryovers from running into CrossFit as well. So I want to make sure we covered that topic, because I feel like a lot of people might
it's not
think
a this or that.
Yeah, like this, that. I have to choose between one of them
and that.
To this and that.
And actually, both things are going to complement each other so well, and you're going to improve your running and improve your CrossFit by doing both.
Yep, 100%.
Boom, mic drop.
All right, client of the week
is
someone who is starting to incorporate a little bit of running while doing a lot of CrossFit.
Wow, we're so predictable.
And this client of the week is Eli.
Woo! And the crowd went wild. I forgot to do the pew, 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 pew.
Oh, shoot. Let's restart. No, I'm kidding.
Just kidding. He gets the crowd went wild.
Eli has been absolutely crushing his workouts.
Very dedicated.
He has been doing 5 group classes per week.
Damn.
He's been getting at least 1 run into his training per week. He's had some family schedules or family plans on the Sundays, so he hasn't been able to go and hit the Sunday run club. In fact, his daughter, a member of our gym, Charlotte,
shout out,
has been doing her football playoffs, and yesterday she won her championship
oh my God!
game. Yeah, so
yay, congrats, Charlotte.
big shout out to his daughter, Charlotte, who he's having an impact on her life, which I freaking love that so much.
I love it.
And she came and did the group class on Saturday, and she's freaking awesome.
I started running because my dad's a runner, so I love that we have like teenagers starting CrossFit because their parents are doing it.
It's so good. Yeah. She's 13 or 14. She's 14. So she's 14. She's so fun to have in the group. She's always smiling. I'm always joking that she's pushing her dad.
Cute.
And yeah, so shout out to her for winning the championship. But Eli has been, like on Saturday, he couldn't come to the run club because he was going to see her championship game on Sunday. So he ended up doing the group class workout and running back home.
Wow.
And yeah, had a really good conversation about running and pacing and all this stuff with him. And yeah, he's just been killing it. His mindset has completely changed from when he started. It's probably been just over a year now, I believe.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's been over a year now that he's started here. And he's just freaking good attitude. He crushed Murph.
He always has a great attitude.
He was in the military. So
oh my God, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Wow,
yep.
awesome.
So he had a really, really good mindset around doing Murph last week,
so
talking
cool.
to the members around it as well. And yeah, he's just a really fun guy and a pleasure to be working with.
It's a pleasure to coach.
And his mindset has really switched from the last year to feeling like he's got to like really kill himself to like this is more of a sustainable thing to increasing his volume slowly and steady. And yeah, so shout out to you, Eli, for being such an awesome dude.
Well earned client of the week.
Hell yeah. Anyways, guys, we hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you want to help support us, there is a Buy Me a Protein Shake in the links down below. We would greatly appreciate that. And
hopefully next time we talk to you, I'm not pregnant.
We'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.
Bye.